after I got into these things, learned about quantum entanglement, quantum superposition, being in the same place at the same time. You can have two particles that are separated by long distances, but if you do something to this one will react. You know, I mean, it sounds very counterintuitive to me, but yet this is what they're telling me is happening. Okay, so I'm dealing with this and all this stuff, and then I come across something called the DWay Computer. Is anyone familiar with DWay Computer? Okay. The DWay Computer is the first quantum computer. Now you're like, oh, I know fancy computer. No. There is a physicist named Audrey Rumbers who goes on YouTube and he tells us all about this stuff that's going on in quantum physics. He was one of the financiers. He financed the DWay Computer. Now I'm going to give you what he says about this computer. All right? He says, a quantum computer is a machine that has the ability to reach into parallel dimensions and use their resources to solve problems. Did you say parallel dimensions? Wow. Did a quantum physicist tell me about parallel dimensions actually existing? Yes, he did. He says, comparing a supercomputer to a quantum computer is like comparing a horse to a plane. He says, a quantum computer is not a fancier supercomputer because it takes advantage of another resource. You know, it's off the ground now. It's doing something, you know. So even though when the plane was first developed, a horse was faster, that wasn't going to be for long. And the horse was faster than the Wilbur and Wrights when they first did the plane. But we knew that this was going to take us to a whole nother level. That was going to take us off the ground. Well, that's the way these quantum computers are. And this quantum computer has a chip in it the size of your thumbnail. But it's encased in this huge black monolithic box that has to be kept a smidgen above absolute zero. That's how cold it has to be in order to work. Now, we know with our computers, I know you guys like me, when you use your computer, sometimes it gets hot because that's the computing power of it. Well, imagine a computer that the computing power is so vast that it has to be kept colder than outer space. That's what we have here. This is what we have now, is this computer. Okay, well, what else about this quantum computer? Well, he says there are enormous numbers of parallel realities as real as this one, but has different consistent histories as real as your reality. So in other words, what he's telling us is that there's a reality that's just like this one, except for maybe just a little bit changed. And then that next parallel reality it's just like this one, but just maybe a little bit more change. So basically, the further you get from your parallel, your own world or reality, the further you get away from that, the more different it is. And within all of these parallel universes is every possibility that you could even possibly think of. So that sounds eerily like a heartbeat. Okay. All right. Another thing about this computer. When you go from one generation to the next, and it's, like anything, everything, you get the next upgrade of it and this and that and the other. But when you're talking about a quantum computer, when you go from one generation to the next, and this is Audrey Rumbers' words, not mine, he said it's like going from a donkey to a jet. It is 500,000 times more powerful than the first generation. Now you have to understand, he was talking about this in 2012. We're in 2018. And he said every year, this is doubling. So imagine, you do the math here. And the more power that they have, the more parallel dimensions that they can tap into. Because basically what he told us is that there is a nexus point in which all parallel universes connect. And if you can get to that nexus point, right there, that's when you go in, you get your information, you get your resources. I don't know what he's talking about getting out of there. And you bring them back here. Now to me, when you're talking about parallel universes and going into them and things of this nature, I get a little concerned. I don't know if I watch too much Fringe. I don't know if you guys watch Fringe, but Fringe was kind of telling me when they did that things didn't go well for their universe. I mean, it did not, which makes sense. So this is what we're saying we're going to do. Okay. So, curiously enough, while we're delving into this quantum, space, and we're going to our parallel universe, and Jordy Rose, he's just giddy about it. He's just giddy. Like, oh, everything is great. It's just going to be so wonderful. And it's like, okay, but isn't there? Okay, but whatever. Then we start to have this phenomenon. And it's around earlier than 2012, but I think 2012 is when it really started to kick in. And this phenomenon is called the Mandela Effect. Let's see what the Mandela Effect is. Once again, I think I got this from Wikipedia because I'm using their words. It says, the Mandela Effect refers to a phenomenon in which a large number of people share false memories of past events, referred to as confabulation in psychiatry. Some have speculated that the memories are caused by parallel universes spilling into our own, while others explain the phenomenon as a failure of collective memory. Now, when I learned about the Mandela Effect, the definition that I understood was that the Mandela Effect was a phenomenon that came about because for some reason a minority group of people around the world remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison and never becoming the president of South Africa. I mean, details. They remember his funeral, where they were, and yet you're telling them this man lived until like 2013. So, of course you would think these people just have, a memory problem, I mean, of course, the man was here, it's obvious. But when I started to experience the Mandela Effect, when it was popping up in my life, that's when I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? Because when you tell people about this Mandela Effect, the first thing they want to tell you is that, what I call the simple Simon excuse. Oh, well, you just forgot. Like they said in the paper, they say, confabulation, whatever, blah, blah. Your memory is faulty. I said, no, that can't be it. And I'll tell you why that can't be it. Because certain things that people say have changed, they all agree on what it was before. How is that possible? How can we all agree that it was something different? How is that possible? I don't know these people. But yet I'm experiencing this, and I'm like, what's going on? So I'm going to tell you guys some of the things that have changed in my reality. And you tell me what you think. One of the major things that have changed, okay, let me ask a question. How many of you know where our solar system resides in the Milky Way galaxy?
On the outskirts.
On the outskirts? On the outskirts, okay. On the outskirts where?
Of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm. There's arms of the Milky Way galaxy, right? Do you remember which arm we reside in?
Not really.
But you remember that it's on the outskirts. Are you sure of that?
I'm sure.
You're sure? See, yeah, don't make me let you question yourself. You sure? You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
So our solar system is in between the center of the galaxy and the edge of the galaxy. I guess that's because our solar system came from Sagittarius Dwarf Galaxy.
Okay. Well, I remember I studied cosmos. I'm always up in there, you know, finding out things, whatever. And when I studied, they told me that our solar system was in the Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way galaxy, like you said, on the outskirts. And that one day, this other galaxy, I don't know if it's Andromeda or one of these other galaxies, we were going to eventually come together and be combined, become one great, gigantic galaxy. So I'm like, okay. Well, guess what? It's not in the Sagittarius arm anymore.
We came together.
Hmm?
We came together.
Nope.
No.
No. See, I know.
Diverging.
Hmm?
We're diverging.
Diverging? I don't think we're diverging. I think we're converging, but not in the way that you think. Not like the two galaxies are coming together. What has happened is that somehow in this reality, we were never on the outskirts. We were never in the Sagittarius. Today, they tell me that our solar system is located in Orion's Spur. Orion's Spur is close in, and we are now like, woo, we've zoomed. I'm like, wait, what, are you kidding me? And you see, I know it wasn't my memory, because when certain things like that you know are true, and when you find out they aren't, there's a feeling you get inside. This dissonance, like, wait, what? Okay, mind, figure this out. Make logical sense of this. And your mind cannot make logical sense of it because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so that's one thing that just totally blew my mind, because I don't understand. How can you tell me this? You said yourself, on the outskirts. If a person doesn't really study the cosmos, you don't know. I don't know where it was, but so then that's fine. All right. And what's funny is the quantum physicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, see, how are you going to explain these things? He was on a show, and it's on YouTube. You can go look it up. He was on some talk show, and he was talking about perception, how we see ourselves. And he was like doing these concentric circles, and he'd be like, oh, hey, this one is your city, and he said, your state. So, but he was like, Detroit, Michigan, United States, North American continent, Earth, and he said Sagittarius arm. What? Oh, so you're telling me that a quantum physicist doesn't know where we are in the solar system? He's confused too. You see, and you wonder, well, how come you guys aren't saying anything about Neil deGrasse Tyson, who obviously doesn't know where he is in the Milky Way? That's strange. Okay? So that's one of the major things that made me realize something is wrong here. I'm not forgetting. I know where it was, and how the heck did we move all of a sudden? Just now we're there, right? Okay, but that's just one. So you can think of a reason to say, okay, well, you might have misthought it, whatever. Okay, fine. I don't know where you guys think that Australia is, but I tutor children. And I tutor them in all sorts of areas. And geography is one of them. It's like, so I learn with them. Every time we go over things, we learn, whatever. And I've always been fascinated by Australia, down under, because it just seemed like it was just floating out there by itself. Just one little continent, down surrounded by water, Well, now when you look on the map, that same country that I know, I can see it in my mind's eye, was down below, surrounded by water, is now pushed up hundreds of miles north, pushed up to these islands. What? And people will say, oh, they give me all of these reasons why that can't be true, the map, the this, the that. No. That's not what's happening. And once again, I'm not the only one. There are other people that are saying, I thought Australia, did Australia move? Well, I thought it was-" I'm like, oh yes, exactly. But of course, everybody doesn't look at the map like that. So you're like, oh, I don't know. It looks like this is the same place. You know, but for those of us who are questioning it, we're questioning it with the same answer. That's weird. You said outside. I remember it being out. How did you remember us being outside when it's always been